Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Tuesday's edition of Pre-Market Info.
Tuesday's edition of Premarket Info featuring a 12-point sell-off here, Joel. Syria concerns, debt concerns. Is it the end of the world? The end of the world coming here?
I don't know about the end of the world. I'm not quite that bearish this morning, but I think we're definitely going to go down. Maybe not today, or probably today. Maybe hit 1631.50. That's been the low of the move so far. So really, that's your next major support level. We're 10 points away from there, and then boy, we got a long way to go to get back up to the close at 1654 and a quarter.
Short term looking a little bit bearish here. But not.
Yeah, Dennis, too. I'm kicking myself a little bit, and I'm a little bit upset with you too because we always talk about the 50% retracements of a move,
Yeah,
and you did have a precipitous decline from 1705 to
yeah.
1631.50. Yesterday's high, which was 67 and a half. Guess what the 50% retracement was of this entire break?
67 and a half.
Close, 68 and a
Those
quarter. So
fibs,
just did
sometimes that
by
50%
yeah,
fib
it
sometimes can
does.
work, eh? I'm not a big
Yeah,
fan
so
of the fibs, but the 60% or the
50,
50%,
50, yep.
yeah, the 50% sometimes does work, and looks like it did yesterday. Wow, well, good for you if you guys were stepping ahead of the 50% fib selling yesterday's high because you're real happy today and you're already 20 points or 23 points up.
Yep. And I'm going to give a projection on the downside here. We had a 75-point drop here. I'm predicting another 75-point drop here off that 1667.50 level to take us under 1600. So
Whoa.
you willing to do a
Mm,
1602 and a quarter
mm.
versus 1682 and a quarter bet for a
I'm
steak
short term
dinner?
bearish too. Long term, I'm still
Uh,
bullish, but short term here, I'm on the same side. I think we could see. I think it's possible. Over the next. There's a lot of concerns, a lot of problems out here, but I don't think we're going into like this big bear market here. You got a lot of people out there that are real scared here. I think we've seen the top, and this is going down. I think short term, we might get a little bit weaker here. 1600 could happen. That's just a healthy correction in my book. I don't think we're seeing anything like a crazy crash down to 1500 or 1400 or anything like that. I think you'll see new highs before you see like 1500. But
okay,
1600,
okay, okay. How about 1542.50 versus
that's an
1742.50
interesting bet. Now that's
for
an
a
interesting.
steak dinner?
For a steak dinner, where's the steak dinner going to be at? That's what I need to
Well, if you win, it's going to be at my house, okay? And if I win, it's going to be
Ruth's Chris
at
or something, probably.
yeah, Morton Steakhouse.
Yeah. You know what? I'll do it. 1542.50 versus 1742.50. So I do. I think we will eventually make new highs in this market. I don't see us falling 100 points from here before doing that. So I'm still long-term bullish, short-term bearish. So I'll do it. Market down, steak dinner, 1742, 1542. Market down. Let's move on here.
Sure.
Let's move on here. We're never going to talk about anything else. The bulls versus the bear. That's why we have a market here, Joel. Crude is trading up here this morning. Let's go into crude before we get into the JC Penny Fund stuff, because crude actually is trading up $2.47 right now, up at 108.39. Obviously, the worries over about a possible strike on Syria is bouncing up crude here this morning.
Right. Nice rally in the crude market, kind of right out of the gate. We are trading at 108.40, up $2.50, really obliterating all resistance levels. What you need to do now is you need to keep a hot eye on those highs that we had, I believe, right around 109. Let me pull it up here to get those exact numbers for our traders. And we can see what it is. We went to, where did we go to, Dennis? The high of the move so far has been 108.68, and I know there was another high at 108.79. We hit 108.56, so 30 cents away from major resistance
Got
here
some
in the crude
resistance here in
market.
the crude.
Yeah,
We got gold trading up here too. Let's bounce over to that. Obviously defensive. Gold trading up about $15 here this morning. Broke through 1400, kapoom, and trading up at 1417 right now. Taking off with all these new worries. Gold doing what it's supposed to do, being
right.
defensive and going up when the market goes down. You gotta like that if you're a gold bug.
Right. Not a lot of major resistance points here now that the gold is rolling here. You haven't been trading up at this level for quite a while, Dennis. You haven't been up here, I believe, in a few months. So kind of just have to let this thing roll and go. Don't want to say 1500 is the next major resistance point, but I did see a high at 1430 going back a couple months. So only $13 away from there. So keep an eye on the 1430 level.
And the miners bouncing here this morning. Bring up a chart of Barrick Gold here, ABX. It's been taking off as of late. We were talking about a couple days ago how it was looking like it was setting up to go. Well, that is coming to fruition here. It's trading up at 2102 this morning on 121,000 shares. So Barrick breaking through 21. I do see some size in the book kicking around at 21, so it'll be interesting to see if it can actually open over 21. But it has traded a lot of volume here, so it can definitely take out that size off the hop.
Okay, looking at the pre-market trading here, trading right at the top of the pre-market here, 2113. See if that size comes into play off the open. Looking at the daily here, going back a little bit here, you're going back to June 5th. You had June 5th and June 6th, you had a double top at 2143 and 2145. So if this rally continues, that will be your next major resistance point.
Let's quickly look at Gold Corp here too, which is symbol GG because it's trading up about 75 cents this morning and breaking out actually here to a 3-month high for 4-month high for Gold Corp. 32.02 over the critical $32 level here right now, but that's where it struggled. It struggled at 32
Oh, yeah.
6-7 days ago. It's trading up there right now at it, so it is kind of opening into resistance. Even if we look back into April, you do have a couple tops up at 32.72, but 32 is the first hurdle here. We'll have to see if it can actually open and get over that when the market opens at 9:30.
Yeah, you're right, Dennis. April 12th, we hit a high of 32.70. That $32 level did hold it in, what is it, the last three sessions, your highs were between 31.72 and 32 even. So 32 is a big number to look out for in Gold Court.
Let's move on to some of the equities. There's always excitement in JC Penney, especially when Ackman is involved. Last night after the close, announced Ackman is going to sell his entire JC Penney stake. It was priced this morning. He is trying to dump 39 million shares at $12.90 in a secondary. The stock trading actually not down that much. On this news last night, you can see the washout when the news broke after hours. 12.54 it looks like the stock got down to. Bounced back immediately. Has been hanging around the low 13s. Trading down only 25 cents right now at 13.10. So maybe Ackman will be able to get rid of these shares at 12.90.
Yeah, and then you're going to hear that Icon bought the shares from him.
Poor Ackman. The fade Ackman trade just seems to be working and continues to work. It wouldn't surprise me if the stock ended up green on the day just because it seems like when you're fading Ackman, that's just the thing to do. So we'll have to see. Obviously, when you have a secondary price like that price can act a little bit as support for the stock and can act a little bit as a magnet. So I'd look at the 12.90 to be decent support here for a while, at least until Ackman dumps his stock.
Yeah, and I think he's trying to free up some margin so he can short more Herbalife. Is what.
Man. Poor Ackman. It hasn't been a good year for Ackman. If you think you've had a bad
12.54.
year as trading, just think it could be worse. It could be Ackman.
12.54 pre-market low. 12.34 has been the low of the move here. So those are going to be your major support levels. Just consolidating here in the pre-market. A lot of trading around 13.10.
6.3
So,
million
yeah,
shares. Here's
yeah.
this crazy
So
volume. Crazy, absolute crazy volume.
I think he's got this old buy low, sell high thing wrong.
You think he's got it mixed up? The sell low, buy high? Poor Ackman. Let's stop picking on Ackman. Let's move on to Best Buy here. You got another, the former CEO, Schulze, dumping stock of Best Buy. I like the way he words this. Schulze has a prearranged trading plan to dump shares and diversify his assets. But that more sounds like I'm going to sell Best Buy here because it's ridiculously overpriced. That's what I think he's really thinking here. It's been a heck of a run here for Best Buy. Obviously, the stock since bottoming back at $11 or $12 or whatever it did last year has just been on a complete tear. Stock traded up to a new high high yesterday on the move again. I think it actually did tick over 36, got up to 36.13, closed 35.81, but it is getting knocked down here on this Schulze move today. So Schulze seems to have it right, actually. He was trying to, remember, buy the company and take it private when it was 12, and now he's going to dump shares up to 35. So unlike Ackman, I think Schulze has that buy low, sell high thing right.
Yeah, we 35 has been the low. Actually, it did dip below there. 34.97 in the pre-market. Just trading slightly above that level. Going back, I don't like these gap formations here. It's really been a really strong move up here from 33 to make that high above 36. You did have that low at 35. If that can hold, you might get a rebound. Perhaps I don't think you'll get back to the close today, which is 35.81, but below that 34.97 pre-market low, you had a two-day low, 34.82, but after that, Dennis, things really open up. Perhaps you get all the way down to the even number of 34 today.
Lots of stocks, few having earnings. We are out of earnings season, but a few big ones reporting. Tiffany's, let's start with that one. TIF, they reported a pretty good quarter here. 83 cents versus 74 cents. Revenue was a little bit light, 926 million versus 941 million, but the guidance was good too, and stock is trading higher here this morning, actually breaking out to a new 52-week high, ticked over $83 just a few minutes ago. The old 52-week high of 82.84, that looks like it's gone.
Yeah, we did get a blip up there to 84, and quickly have pulled back, now trading at the $83 level. 82.84, prior high of the move. So we'll keep an eye on that. Nice round number, 83. See if it can take that out. If it does, it has a chance to take out that high at 84. But at 82.84 is going to be critical today.
DSW trading up here too, so you got some retailers doing okay this morning. DSW's earnings 97 versus 79, 562 million on the top line versus 559 million. So DSW actually very, very light volume, only 330 shares have traded, but it is bid up at 82.55, which is up $1.20. Offered 82.95, so kind of a tight range here actually in the pre-market, considering it's only traded 330 shares.
Yeah, not much at all. Just gapping up here on light volume. Did hit 83. Former high of the move was in the 82 handle.
82.47.
82.47. Yeah, so I think you could find resistance here when the liquidity comes in between 82.47 and that pre-market high of 83.
MOV moving up this morning. Movado Group, they reported 44 cents versus 32, beat on the top line as well, 138.3 million versus 135.9 million. Stock trying to break out actually here to new highs as well. It just ticked up to 40.11 or 40.13. Pulled back, it's trading 39.97 right now. The high from 3 days ago, 39.86. That whole $40 area, we'll call that the little hurdle that it needs to get over for this Movado move to keep moving higher.
Yeah, not a ton of volume with this. It did tick 39.86 just a few days ago. 39.73 also was a high, so that's major resistance. I think some people are going to be taking this opportunity here to sell into that nice round number of 40. And speaking of 40, the S&P's just ticked 1640. Dennis, you want out of that bet?
You're getting me scared. Where? I got to write it down. What was it? 1542.50. Is that what we said?
Yeah.
Against 1742.50. So I'm already down 2.5 points. You're gonna day trade me? You're gonna get out of that already and cover? I'll send you a French fry or something. Bank of Nova Scotia reported earnings here too, just for Canadian listeners. $1.39 versus $1.32. BNS, a symbol there. They raised quarterly dividend up to 62 cents from 60 cents. These Canadian banks have been performing pretty well, but it's been kind of quiet for a bit. This morning, only a couple hundred shares traded. Obviously, there's no pre-market on the Toronto Stock Exchange, so it's hard for these things to really trade too much ahead of the Toronto Open at 9:30.
Okay, 56. Last four highs in the stock between 55.92 and 56.13. So if breaks above there, Shouldn't have much trouble at 56.50. We could sneak above 47, but definitely going to be opening up into some resistance.
Bank of Montreal also reported earnings with a slight beat. They're at 62.75 right now, which is BMO. 62.60 is where it closed, so it is trading up about 15 cents here. This stock chart looks a little bit better than that Bank of Nova Scotia one. It actually was trying to break out there yesterday ahead of these earnings, and actually looks like it's falling through a bit here today. Kind of it was on that huge tear, pulled back, consolidated, and looks like it's itching to try to go higher here again, but it's going to have struggles with the market being down 15 points today.
Right, you had a 62.61 high on August 16th and 62.69 yesterday, trading at 62.75 here. So opening into resistance as well. Above that opens up into the $63 handle. Longer term, though, this whole from $1.75 away from there, that 61 is major support. If it takes that out, I think you may want to take a look at perhaps putting in some protective stops there or liquidating.
Let's move back into some of the top S&P components here. Apple pulling back this morning, down $4.67. Obviously, with the overall market pullback, I was saying, I'm looking at this. I remember these magnet trades that sometimes happen in Apple at these big triple-digit numbers, and this 500 level has been a magnet for about 5 days here now. Seems to get away from the 500 level, pulls back to test it, gets away, pulls back to test it. The way I trade in magnet trades is when it pulls away from the level. If it's going up to 510, I guess you try short, and pulls back, you cover. And if it starts to pull down and goes to 490, comes back to 500, you cover. That's the way the magnet trades play. Sometimes these magnets can hold for a while. I don't know how long. That's if it's going to continue to hold here or not. But for 4 or 5 days, the magnet trade has been working on Apple.
Yeah, you had a decent range yesterday, but the previous few days' ranges were pretty tight. I'm keeping an eye on 498.20. That was the low on Thursday. We have traded below that in the pre-market. We've traded much lower than that. We traded down to 495.07. One thing about this is, though, you got a lot of people stuck short on this Ackman move here. So it's when it's going to, and also they're saying, for the last year has been getting, had a hard time. So a lot of shorts stuck here. I don't think it's going to be a whoosh here. I think it's people that are, have been shorting it, the new shorts above 500 now, are starting to get into the money here. So no major support, though, Dennis, until you get down to 489.08. I believe that was the low a couple days after the Ackman announcement.
I think Icon's going to take offense when you're calling him Ackman.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry.
We got Ackman on the brain, but I think Icon's he's going to call up the show here and say, "You calling me Ackman?" He's not going to like that. Anyways, since Icon obviously announced that he had sat down for dinner and going in there and Apple's going to do the buyback, it's a nice little tweet that popped it up here. It hasn't been back down here for a bit. So,
what if the market does this, Dennis? What if it goes into ExxonMobil mode here?
ExxonMobil, man, that chart. We did get the 2 up days there, but obviously the only thing going, obviously ExxonMobil is crude is trading higher, but it doesn't seem to matter for ExxonMobil. It's trading down 60 cents here, so it looks like we may try to test the low. What's the low of that move there, Joel?
ExxonMobil, you had double bottom at 86.39, 86.45. Yeah, the 3 and 4 day lows, and Friday and Monday's lows were right up there around the 86.80 level, and you've taken that out too. So ExxonMobil is opening. Be one of the stocks I would be keen on here to see if this market could get any kind of a dead cat bounce.
Yeah, and if obviously that's the major support area, and if it takes that out, I get concerned here. So that's the bogey for me on ExxonMobil, that 86.39 low. Microsoft couldn't hold on to those Balmer gains too long. It tried to test 34 and is taking out 34 here this morning. So yesterday got down. We were saying the low from the day before, $34, got down to 34.03 yesterday. That was the support it needed to hold. It's not holding here in the pre-market. Trading down with the overall market at 33.63, and now we get into this gap area, and that's always a scary thing because there's not a lot of reference points in there.
That spike up, was that a bad tick?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
been a bad
boy.
tick.
I had this one written down. If going through 34 to to look at it on the short side here. And
It's already
now I'll have to hopefully,
37
yeah,
cents into it.
yeah,
Maybe it
man,
bounces
now
back up,
it's
give you a shot here in the 33.90s today or something.
yeah, that would be. We'll just have to be a little bit patient on that one. And then you got a long ways to go to fill that
Yeah,
gap, Dennis. You got to get
yeah,
down to 32.49 to fill the gap. So Microsoft, not a good area.
yeah. Microsoft, not loving that Microsoft chart either here. Let's look at Procter and Gamble because it really had a
Oh, don't
rough one.
remind
I
me.
know we talked about
Don't.
it. We had even our question from yesterday. I forget who was saying they were looking at that. Is it ever going to get through that 80-10 area, 80-07 area? Apparently not, because it tried for 6 days to get through 80-10. There was some institution that was dumped between 80 and 80-10 because every time it got up there was just selling back off. Well, yesterday, whoever was trying to sell decided just I'm selling right now, and it sold off $1.50 hard off that $80 level. So that's obviously major, major, major resistance up there, but that's not going to come into play today. And the stock is trading down
Uh,
another 40 cents here. Man, we should have just shorted that stock, Joel. We messed up. Should have been short Procter
well,
Gamble.
but
You
you
had the
know
puts
what?
too.
I had the weeklies.
Yeah, the
I mean,
weeklies. Should have the
yeah,
monthlies.
oh my God! I thought walking this thing. I actually got a little bit out of it on Friday. I tried the it's down another 45 cents here. I tried it, just on the day trade thing, and should have looked another week, but shoulda, coulda, woulda here. We are looking at a very important level, though. July 5th low, 77.78 is an next support point here for Procter and Gamble.
Let's move back to the overall market. We have sold off about 3 more points since we just made our bet. Actually, 4 more points now. So if it continues at this pace, you might win by the end of the day. But 1638.50 is where we're trading at right now. What was the bogey you gave to us earlier? You're saying 1631. Was that the
Yep,
low?
31. Yep, that was the low. That's, believe it or not, was your 4-day low.
Yep.
That was you had the Fed minutes knock the market down, and then the next day the overnight session knocked it down to 31.50. I'd be keeping an eye on that. 31.75, 32 even if you want to jump ahead of that number. Below that, you have another 5-point drop down to 1626. That was your low on July 8th. And if things really get ugly today, which they never do, 1608 and a quarter was your low on July 5th.
I like that 1631 area. I might try to pick bottoms there, and that's a little 1631 area if we get down another 7 points. We'll have to see what happens. Obviously, if you're picking bottoms, always know where your out is, though.
Yeah, it's probably better area to that 3150 is probably a better area to cover short as opposed to initiate a long.
That's our show for today, guys. Have a great trading day. Back at ya tomorrow morning.